Will, let's transfer on to then where we look in the House of Representatives, knowing that at least 2 members of Congress will likely not be there.
That's right. So this is also why the ACLJ is standing ready in case there does need to be some sort of legal filings in some of these states. As these races are called, they're never officially over until the state certifies the election. Yes. But as you look at this, different news organizations that have an apparatus to collect the data and make projections based off of any outstanding votes make their different calls. Decision Desk HQ, which has been around for about 20 years and has made a lot of waves in the forecasting of projected winners. A lot of news organizations that don't have their own apparatus use Decision Desk HQ. So it's not this random out there organization. They are a approved, one of the big 6 that call elections. They have already called the House of Representatives for the Republicans. They put them at 219 to 210. Organizations like CNN, New York Times, they have not yet called the House, and they have the Republicans at 215 versus 206 with some outstanding states. Now, being at 219, very good. That would put, if the Democrats swept all the outstanding, it would put us at 219 to 216, taking 2 members of the House out. The Republicans, until those seats are filled with a special election, they would be vacant seats.
So let's explain this to people because we're getting a lot of questions on this.
That's right.
In the House of Representatives, there's no appointment.
Correct.
So you don't have like a governor or a state legislature that appoints a member of the House for the remainder of the term. Instead, each state will decide when to put forward. They usually have rules on dates. So whenever this person technically resigns, there has to be a special election within so many days to fill that seat. So that's how the seats of, at least for right now, Elise Stefanik and Mike Waltz would be filled. But until they're filled, it takes what you need necessary to have the House majority. That number drops by 2.
That's right, because the total membership of the House drops because there are vacant seats. So even if it's at Decision Desk HQ's number, and those 2 members leave a vacant seat, the Republicans, based off today, if Democrats were to sweep the remaining, would still have a 1-vote majority. They would remain the majority party. You couldn't lose any more due to illness, death, resignation, anything of that nature. But it also looks like there are a few other areas that the Republicans should get around 220 to 221.
Outstanding. There's 10 outstanding.
It depends on who you're looking at, but according to broadest of terms, it looks like there are about 6 outstanding. According to Decision Desk HQ.
How many could Republicans potentially win of those?
Potentially 2, put you up to 221.
Push you up to 221. So there you go. And
now, I do have one caveat for you, Jordan, and this is where we have to stay vigilant.
Yeah.
Decision Desk HQ called the Iowa House District 1 for the Republican, but that Republican won by 796 votes. Republican Party, the political party, and outside legal observers need to make sure that there are no shenanigans, because that's a very slim margin. It has been called for the Republican. It's not a very populous district. However, there's most likely going to be a recount there. We need to make sure that remains in the Republican column to ensure that stays up to
them. These races, they've only counted 57% of the
Then
votes?
you go out to California.
Think about that, folks. That's just not right a week after the election. I mean, they need to explain to the voters what happened that they've only counted 57% of the votes in a week.
And that is where an incumbent Republican, John Duarte, is facing off against Adam Gray, a Democrat. He's ahead by 3,000 votes, the Republican. However, as of right now, there's only 57% of the vote in. We are a week past the election day. Why is California unable to get these votes processed?
Yeah. I mean, there's really no excuse unless they haven't told us that something went wrong. Did they have, was it a staffing issue, machine issue? Are they having some problem with votes that went through the machines? Is there something else at play here? I mean, or is it just that they don't have enough people to count? I mean, there's got to be a reason. There's just no excuse that's been put forward. So they haven't put forward an excuse or reason. We have to watch those very carefully when the margins are this slim. And as Will said, some of the victory margins are slim, like under 1,000 votes as well. It's why it's time to support the work of the ACLJ. It's our most critical time of the year. It determines the resources that we have to finish out the year and to begin the year ahead, which is going to be a very busy time. Lots of confirmations, lots of battles in Washington, D.C. We need you to stand with us with your support today. Go to aclj.org and donate today. Double your gift. These are the Trump cabinet picks that have been confirmed by President Trump. Some of these, again, we believe will be cabinet. I guess border czar could become a cabinet position up to President Trump. So Chief of Staff, obviously, Susie Wiles, that was announced early. She ran the campaign. She's been an operative in politics for a long time, going back to the days of Ronald Reagan, Jeb Bush as governor, DeSantis's races, and two of both President Trump's previous races as well, and then of course this race where she was campaign manager. The UN ambassador was the first big position outside the White House that was announced. That was Elise Stefanik, who is a very good friend of ours, and getting a lot of bipartisan support from another good friend of ours, a Democrat in the House of Representatives, Jared Moskowitz, who immediately came out and said she will be very strong, especially in defending U.S. and Israel at the United Nations. We know for EPA, Lee Zeldin, who's been a very popular figure in the conservative realm, after leaving Congress, ran for governor in New York, came up a bit short, but has stayed as someone who's been very helpful to the Republican Party, expanding the base. So he will be at EPA. Now, we've got media reports, but these haven't been confirmed by the Trump team. So again, if it's not fully confirmed, we just want to leave that caveat there in case something does change. For Homeland Security, Secretary Kristi Noem. Kristi Noem is, of course, this South Dakota governor. We have actually represented the South Dakota governor. She requested the ACLJ represent the state in a matter. We did, and we won. So a good relationship there with the ACLJ. Then you've got a Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy. That would be Stephen Miller. He is a longstanding Trump stalwart especially on domestic policy and immigration issues. Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Of course, you're all very familiar with Senator Rubio. He's run for president before, so he's got a very much a national presence. Though he looks young, he's been in the Senate a long time. He is a specialist kind of in national security and foreign policy, and has built that up during his time in the Senate, and would look like a pretty smooth confirmation if that is in fact confirmed, later on today or soon by the Trump transition team. And then you've got a national security advisor that does not need confirmation. Neither does Deputy Chief of Staff or Chief of Staff or border czar. But national security advisor, a huge position, and that would go to Congressman Mike Waltz. That means that as of right now, 2 current members of Congress will be leaving Congress to take these positions in January.